Hey guys, so I want to show you how to use your calculator to graph a quadratic function and how to adjust the window when you're not able to see the graph on your screen. So here I have the function negative 16t squared plus 48t. If I want to graph this, the first thing that I want to do is go to the graph function of the calculator, enter in the function, so negative 16x squared plus 48x, and then I want to hit enter, right? When we're graphing quadratic equations, it's helpful to graph the vertex first. So my graph right now on the screen looks wonky, right? Like I can't see the graph. I don't know if it's opening up. I don't know if it's opening down. I want to be able to see the entire quadratic, right? I want to see the curve. I want to see everything. I want to see whether it's a max. I want to see whether it's a min. So to do this, you have to adjust the window on your screen. If we look at the graph that we're given, right, our coordinate plane, our x-axis goes from 0 to 4. So that tells you that in your calculator, your window, the x-axis, should also be going from 0 to 4. Then if you look at the y-axis, right, it's going from 0 all the way to 40. So in your calculator, your window should also be going from 0 to 40 on the y-axis. To fix this, you want to hit F3, and we're going to make our x min 0 because we're starting off at 0. And then we're going to make our max, our x max 4, right? And that's because we're going to 4 on the x-axis. Next, I want to make my y min, so this one, I want to make my y min 0 as well, and then I want to make the y max 40. Hit enter like 3 times, and now on your calculator screen, you're able to see the entire graph of this specific quadratic function, right? Now you know that it's opening downwards, so you're going to have a max, right? And that's the first point you want to plot. So to do that, you hit F5 and you hit F2 for max. We see that the vertex or the max is at 1.5 comma 36. So that's the first point that I'm going to plot on here. 1.5, 36. So that's this point right here. This is my vertex point or the max. Now I want to find the roots. So you're going to hit F5 again and then F1 for the roots. So I see that the first root is at 0, 0. That's the next point that I'm going to put on the graph. And then you're going to hit the right arrow to go to the next root. And we see that that's at the point 3, 0. So now I have 3 points on my graph, right? I have the roots and I have the vertex. If I wanted to, I could technically make a sketch of what this graph would look like, right? But there's a lot of points in between that I'm missing, right? This is not precise. So I could be wrong, right? Maybe the graph needs to go like that, right? Or maybe it needs to go a little bit more like this. I don't know, right? So we're missing a bunch of points in between the roots that we just graphed here. So to find the missing points, you would go to the table now, right? So hit menu, go to the table. And if you look at your x-axis, you see that we're going by point fives here, right? So 0, 0.5, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5. So I want to make sure that I'm plotting all of those points. So I'm going to find my point for 0.5. I see that at zero point 0.5, it's at 20. I already have the point for 1.5, so I just need the point for 1. Why is that not working? So I'm going to hit 1, hit enter. I see that it's at 32 for 1, sorry. And then I have my max at 1.5 already plotted. So then I need the point for 2. So hit 2, hit enter. I see that that's at 32. And then lastly, I need the point for when x is 2.5. So hit 2.5, hit enter, and I see that that would be at 20. So now I have a couple more points on my graph, right? So I could make a more precise sketch of what this quadratic function would look like, right? So if I went ahead and I connected these points that I have here, I see that the graph would look something like this, right? So this is how you would use the window function in your table to adjust it to see your entire graph. And then this is how you would use the table to find the points in between. Um, just finishing up this question on the left, we see that it says a basketball is thrown upward from the ground during practice. Its height in feet is modeled by the equation where t is the time in seconds, right? So we already graphed the function. So we have two questions to answer here. What is the maximum height in feet that the ball reaches? So your maximum height is obviously the point where the max is, right? So we want to know what height is this? What height is the max at? And you would see that that's at 36 feet. So this ball reaches a maximum height of 36 feet. And then how many seconds does it take the ball to hit the ground? So um, it starts from 0, 0, right? That's where it's thrown from, right? And then it goes all the way up and then it turns and then it comes down again and it hits the ground right here at this point, right? So at 3 seconds, right? So that's what you would say. It takes 3 seconds for this ball to hit the ground. All right. I think I over explained that. I didn't need to go so much into it. But that's how you would use your calculator to graph a quadratic equation that's already in standard form. Okay, cool. Bye.